Okay, the Nintendo Direct just wrapped up, and this was kind of a weird one for Nintendo, which I'll talk about a bit as we go along because there were a couple of games that I wanted to point out, but it's very, very clear the Switch 2 is obviously enticing to third parties because there were a lot of third party games here, and it kind of feels like they're still playing catch up with this new platform from Nintendo with the Switch 2, even after completing the first year. But in a way, it's good to see some other games that are going to be there day one, and the closeout. Whew, the closeout. It's gonna be interesting to see how Nintendo handles this though, going towards the end of this year for what should be, I mean, a massive, massive release. But we'll go over all of that today. So if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. So I'll go over everything that was announced here. I actually go back and even look at the sizzle reel because they were rolling pretty quick through. I think it was like 10 games. They just kind of jammed into like 2 minutes or something. But there were a few games that I wanted to point out here as we go along. As I mentioned, third party support was a big headline here. So, Onimusha Way of the Sword, that will be on the platform day one, September 25th. And they're also going to have Joy-Con motion controls in the game, which I don't know if I'm that interested in using motion controls for Onimusha, but it's just, I mean, it's a feature on the Switch too, so I guess they figured, you know what, we'll just go ahead and use it and see what happens. But I did enjoy the demo quite a bit. I played that on the PlayStation 5, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So the only thing I'd be curious about with the Switch 2, of course, would be the frame rate and resolution, as that is a game that I would like to play at the steadiest frame rate possible. All right. But still, it's good to see it show up here on the Switch 2, prepped and ready for launch day, because I think that game's going to be pretty good. It's again a lot of fun there. I'm going to jump ahead though to Pokopia. Yeah, so this was here DLC. There's a free update that they were going over where you're building your towns underwater, which is interesting. It actually opens up the map significantly now that I think about it, being able to go under the water and just build out whatever there. But then there's also an expansion pass paid DLC. And this is going to be released in waves. So the first part, Bubbly Basin, that's out today, and then part 2 is going to be releasing late this year, 2026, and then part 3 will be in 2027. So a free update August 2026, and then paid expansion DLC in 3 different parts today, late 2026, part 3 in 2027. I mean, the game's selling well, and obviously they're going to capitalize with downloadable content. But I mean, it's a game that's already consumed quite a bit of time, I'm sure, from people who got into it, and I'm sure people are very excited for just more content being thrown into it. Okay, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I think this looks pretty good, and it's so they have 4 heroes that they went over: Kai, Dietrich, Theodora, and Lita, and each of the characters has their own storyline that you can follow. So of course, I'm sure there'll be favorites or what have you there. But as I'm looking through this, of course, it's strategy turn-based RPG style, right? That makes sense. It's Fire Emblem. But it's also set up in the sense that you kind of spend your free time, and they showed like almost a zoomed out overworld map where you can go around and level up your characters to make them stronger for these different battles at this arena. And they also showed them exploring and finding treasures. And it's coming out September 17th. So this is Nintendo working to, of course, build up their holiday season, as we have Splatoon Raiders, which made an appearance here for quite a while. That's next month. Star Fox later this month with a free demo, by the way, which is awesome. I'm going to check that out here pretty soon. And and then we have Fire Emblem again in September. So they're setting things up, I think, pretty well here, especially with what should be 2 big games that they had at the end of this event. But with that, DK Challenge. We talked about this NSO update earlier in Newswave. If you missed that, go check it out. But it seemed like there was something Nintendo pushed to NSO that would allow challenges to be built in to some of these different retro titles. And here, Nintendo seems to be doing it through themes of different franchises, with Donkey Kong being the focus here. And you'll just have different challenges you can complete in like Super Nintendo, for example, with Donkey Kong Country. And it's limited time, so they have it marked as June 9th to September 1st. And when you complete these challenges, they showed off collectible cards that you'll get. Guys, Nintendo is right up against the looking glass for achievements. I mean, they are right there with something like this. Now, it's limited time, so I kind of wonder if this is also Nintendo maybe doing some research here, gathering some data on the idea of a system level achievement system. That's just me kind of throwing that out there because having limited collectible cards is an interesting thing for completing challenges, not just like, oh, play long enough and you'll get this. No, you actually have to complete. We'll see. I'm curious. Maybe even really difficult challenges. That's kind of interesting. All right. They also have in DK Bananas. There'll be outfits that cross over with Mario and Luigi. So there you go. Now Xenoblade. How long have we been calling for Switch 2 editions for Xenoblade Chronicles 2? It's been constant. Now, I will admit I didn't really call for Switch 2 editions for 1 or 3, but we'll take them. So Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 all getting the Switch 2 enhanced treatment. And there'll be 4K 60 docked, 1080p 60 in handheld mode. And they also showed off additional features for each game. So I'm excited because we'll be able to see our character's face in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That game desperately needed this. We're going to have to wait a little bit for that one as Xenoblade Chronicles 1. That update will be available later today, so it'll just be a good, at least a way to kind of get our bearings as to the kind of upgrade we'll see for something like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's not till late July or July 30th. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will be December 3rd. So again, in waves. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the one I'm most interested in. But I will admit, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a good looking game on the Switch 1. I feel like that one getting the Switch 2 enhanced treatment will actually have a pretty significant upgrade. That's going to look really good on this system. So that I still have things I can do in the game, so I'll be firing it up and trying to remember how to play it all over again in like the late game area. But I'm going to definitely fire up each one of these just to see like the enhancements, and clearly with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, to go from that, there is also a new Xenoblade game, and I'm of two minds here. I like seeing more Xenoblade. That's awesome. And you get a Switch 2 specific Xenoblade game, then you can only imagine how much larger Monolith Soft is going to make the world for this game. It's going to be massive. But I'm also thinking, man, I would have been curious to see them do something outside of Xenoblade because, yeah, they've been just mostly doing Xenoblade and then running support on things like Zelda from time to time with its open world. Still, though, Xenoblade Genesis looks pretty cool. It kind of at times looked sort of Fire Emblem here, and I mean, I know it's sort of has that similar kind of aesthetic anyway, but this one in particular takes place within an academy, and it kind of looked like, oh, it's crossing over to that school kind of mentality. Still, though, it's Monolith Soft. They showed them running around in some big areas, so I think this is going to be a top-tier RPG, and it's coming out in 2027. So Xenoblade fans especially were probably through the roof excited for this thing. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. And I know some people probably tuned out. Look, guys, I'm telling you, Nintendo Switch Sports, just in general, sells very well to the mainstream, and parts of it did look kind of fun. I mean, the thumb wrestling thing I think went a little too long, and I don't know if that's one I'd be playing, but I mean, bowling and boxing, basketball, golf, those are all ones that, yeah, obviously. Table tennis looked like a lot of fun, and this is something that I think you'd set up in the living room with, again, mainstream, but people who aren't as into games and would still have a fun time with it. And you can also use your Mii characters, and that's October 22nd. Again, setting up the holiday season with something that actually should sell pretty well over Christmas. Final Fantasy Resonance. So a third-party game that I want to point out here, definitely, because this is the first Final Fantasy game in this HD 2D style. All right, this setup, and the cutscenes look interesting in the game because it does like mesh with the HD 2D, but then you summon characters from previous Final Fantasy games, and they showed Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, like the remake trilogy. And it was such a contrast from the HD 2D as you have almost a flashback, but to better looking visuals. I don't know, kind of interesting there, but it seems like you're gonna be summoning characters from just previous Final Fantasy games. That'll be a lot of fun to uncover these different summons. I mean, like I'm replaying Final Fantasy X right now, and I think back to when you would discover the summons, and they're all like original Aeons and stuff. But I think going back and then discovering what Final Fantasy characters they've put in the game to summon, that actually should be really cool. That's October 22nd. This is where things get a little weird for me. The Duskbloods. I feel like that game's supposed to be coming out this year. They're doing a closed network test summer 2026, so in the next couple of months. They showed like 30 seconds of the thing and moved on. And it's weird because it almost feels like, I don't know, is Nintendo looking at the, maybe it's just not ready to show more, but that's weird because it's supposed to be coming out this year. This should be a big game for Nintendo to be pushing, and it just kind of feels like they're not. So either it's not coming out this year and it's moving to 2027, which we've already seen Elden Ring kind of move around a bit anyway, so it's possible from Soft. Um, or there's some like dedicated direct that they're going to be doing here over the next couple of months, either ahead of this closed network test to announce the date or after. I don't know. Kind of strange. Kingdom Hearts 4 though is here, and I know Kingdom Hearts fans went through the roof on this one because they've been waiting patiently. All right, I recognize them. So I'm glad that they got another appearance here from the game. There was more content that I'm sure will be scrutinized. They'll get the microscope out and really take a look at this stuff. So that's fun, of course, for them to have. But available at launch on the Switch 2. Big get for Nintendo here when people were going through it with the cloud versions of the game. Well, Kingdom Hearts 1 through 3 or whatever. And now they're going to have like native versions for it where your save data from the cloud versions will follow over here. Those will be out October 8th. Still waiting for any indication as to when Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out. But hey, at least the Switch 2 will have it at launch. The closeout. This is another weird one for Nintendo, okay? Not the game itself. We were expecting it, and I'm a little relieved, actually. So it is indeed The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. Nintendo is actually doing it. They're going to remake like the highest rated game of all time, and that's already a risk on its own. But going into it, people were joking like, what if Nintendo did like a chibi art style or something for it, or they got weird with the look of the game. And it's funny, it's like, oh, come on, Nintendo wouldn't do that. I think like that's the thing. There's that little bit of doubt in the back of your mind of, would Nintendo get weird with this thing? Fortunately, it doesn't look like they are. Okay, so the the thing that's weird to me, it was a quick glimpse of the art style, like very quick. Okay, with Link asleep. That's the start of Ocarina of Time, right? And the thing is, they showed 10 seconds maybe of what looks to be the in-game or the art style they're going to be going for here. And it looks like a more realistic tone. And that's great. We're not going to go through the Wind Waker situation. No, we're going to jump straight ahead to the Twilight Princess situation from back in the day during that GameCube era. But this is again, this should be a big deal for Nintendo, but they announced it almost like a game that's in early development or something. But it's coming out this year because they show us the release time or release year 2026, as in, hey, it's out in the next 5 months. That's the furthest out it would be. Okay, it very well could come out in October or something. So the way that it was shown here, it doesn't feel like it's coming out this year, but it is. So the only thing I can assume with Ocarina of Time, while it seems very weird to give a quick glimpse of it like that, there's going to be a Zelda Direct that will be happening. It could just be Ocarina of Time related, and that's it for this remake. And yes, I think Ocarina of Time should command a dedicated 20+ minute Direct, no problem. But I kind of wonder they're going to do a Zelda Anniversary Direct to set up for some other things that'll be happening. Could be challenges for NSO. I mean, that would actually be pretty cool with like collectible cards and stuff there. Could be some other games that they're working on. Maybe the brand new. Although I don't know, because now it's kind of out there for Ocarina of Time remake, and that has consumed a lot of hype, I'm sure, online. It's a bbig deal. It really is. So maybe they do more merchandising thing and some fun. They do like the Mario 35 or like the Tetris 99 stuff. Maybe there's something there with Zelda or some other creative things that they want to do. But man, Ocarina of Time, I was just hoping to see more. I wanted to see the in-game like visual, like the actual gameplay for it, to get an idea as to what we're looking at here, with it being like, how much are they reimagining here or remaking? That's my question. Is it 1-to-1? Is it going to be something where they play around with the timeline a bit, or the events that happen, or even the characters somewhat? So still so many questions that are left unanswered after this reveal for a game that's coming out in less than half a year. So yeah, again, I'm it's a little weird how they did this, but I am very happy that we have confirmation The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is getting remade. I mean, it looks like it's going to be pushing the Switch to, I assume. It's obviously a release that Nintendo is taking seriously here, and we'll be playing it before the end of the year. So, man, I'm keeping an eye out for this one. I gotta see what this is gonna turn into with Ocarina of Time remake. But let me know what you guys thought about the direct here with your initial reaction to it. Again, I have to go through, get some more information with a sizzle reel and a few other games, but I will go line by line in Newswave tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you check it out there. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.